Hey, what's going on, good people? It's Terry Bain, as always, joined with my pal Janet E. Johnson, where today the E is going to stand for extracalifragilistic. I don't know what the E stands for, Janet. I'm panicking, I'm buckling, and it's not even. I was thinking of that
First time you
supercalifragilistic
buckled.
espialidocious. That was it. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that means. But that was the word that I
But
was
it
trying to
starts
think
with an S because it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
No, but I was only concerned with the part that started with the E. I was starting there. The rest of it was irrelevant, didn't matter, and that's probably what choked me.
Oh, that's great. I was trying to figure out what you were saying too, but yeah, I got it. Well, you've had to come up with too many E's. So
can we just change your middle name? Have we thought about making you Janet B. Johnson or Janet A. Johnson? Have we done
the
that?
brand is out there. Sorry.
It's a little too late, eh?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who was recently divorced, and her name has always been hyphenated, and her husband, let's call him a jerk and be polite about it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm done. I'm gonna stop your name. I'm gonna use the first two initials, and then I'm gonna just say dash. I'm not gonna use the last name anymore. And then I was like, why don't you change this? Why are you carrying this guy's name? And she said, 10 years of Google branding, dude. Are you kidding me? What would happen if you did that and you had to change your name? And I was like, son of a bitch, you're right. That makes total sense.
It does.
But maybe you could just have a pedophile with your same name and see how that works out.
I know you do.
Go Google
I have
Terry
an attorney,
Bain.
remember?
You have an attorney.
And I get a lot of private files, and she's like a drug attorney. And I mean, I've seen I try to just ignore it, and I reply and say, wrong Janet E. Johnson. But I get a lot of emails.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's good. You get to learn the underbelly of the world.
Yeah.
So we're talking about why that when we do these shows, you might see this clock over and over and over again. Because this is not my clock. I did not pick
No, this is a different background for Terry. If you have
it's a different background, and it's on Central Time. So in about a week, it's going to be perfect, right? Don't we change the time zones? I just dated the show,
yes. Yep.
So I'll be all set. I don't have to do anything in about 3 days.
That's what my husband used to get on my case, because for 6 months in my car, I would never change the time. I'm like, 6 months, it will come back.
I listen. I know it's the minutes that matter. The hours, those things go by slowly. Who cares?
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah. So I got a new role, Janet E. Johnson. It's funny because we've talked about virtual reality on this show, because I was in virtual reality for, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, and that was entertaining. We've talked about some other clients that I've worked with where I've joined them in kind of a 1099 consulting capacity, but I'm a promoter by trade, so it made sense that I would say that I was working there. But this is the first time that since we've been doing this lovely little show that I've had an office job, right, where I show up to the same place. I like, my chief operating officer can probably hear me, so I can't say I show up at the same time, because she'll come in and she'll hit the bullshit button right here that I have on my desk. Because
Warning, bullshit alert.
Yeah, see, because that would be, if I said I was here at the same time every day, that would be that, and so I don't want that. We had to have special hours created for me, because like the office opens at 9, and for whatever reason I don't get here at 9, because that's early. Kicking my butt. As you know, we recorded.
Today you were, though, because we were on our call at that time. So, no, you were actually there at 10. It was 9 my time. Oh, yeah.
9, I listen. If it was 9 Central Time, I can make it. I'm good. I'm awesome. And it's funny. It doesn't matter. I could get up at 6:45 and still not be here at 9. I could get up at 8:15 and still not be here at 9. It doesn't really matter. I'm consistent in that respect.
You're one of those, yeah.
But I told them early on, I'm like, listen, if we have to watch the clock, then I have to watch the clock on both sides of the day, right? And so if I'm going to be here till 7, 8 o'clock at night, and let's not worry about what time I actually get here, because I'm not going to worry about what time I leave, or when I'm working on Sunday, or when I'm working at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, because as an entrepreneur, you work as work needs to get done,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so I
We work a lot of weekends. Yep. And yep.
work a lot of weird
Mhm.
time.
Yep.
And so I'm not all of a sudden going to switch into an employee mindset. Oh, for crying out loud. Why wasn't that the E word, Janet E. Johnson, employee? God, read cut.
We have
No.
to do another one. So there you go. Now you used it though.
It's crazy. So yeah, I'm like a W-2 actual person. It's funny because in about 3 weeks from yesterday specifically, I have one of those monumental type birthdays coming up.
I know we do. We
We
both do.
both do. Yeah, you're a month and 2 days. If I'm not, no,
Yeah, what's
You're the
your date again?
6th. Are you the
I'm
6th?
6th, yeah.
I'm November 18th. So I've got
18th. So
you.
in between there, we're doing our 50th. Oh, I just said it.
You could call it my 50th. You don't have to
Exactly.
say it's
Yeah.
yours. It could just
Somebody
be mine.
put the best thing, like I have 29 years experience and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I
Of being legal to drink.
yeah, exactly.
That's about right.
That's
So
great.
we were in the state of Michigan. You can have a funeral with up to 30 people, right? So we're still relatively restricted on what we can do due to
Yeah.
COVID, and so I'm
Yes.
back and forth, right? I'm like, do I have a gathering? Do I not have a gathering? Do I have this gathering? I don't want to be irresponsible. I don't want people to show up. I don't want people to get sick as a result
I
of
know.
coming to say hi. That seems ridiculous to me. But I also am mildly selfish and like me, and so I want to I want to celebrate this auspicious occasion. So I was telling my wife this morning as we were debating the concept for the third or fourth time. I said, you know what? Maybe if she said something about the funeral thing, 30 people, and I was like, oh, we'll just call it the death of my youth. Like it sounds perfect, right? I got this new job. I'm all grown up now, and 50. So it seems like my
Yeah,
youth is
I'm
officially dead.
staying youthful, so I'm not calling mine death of youth.
Yeah, but you've been mature a lot longer than I have.
True. Good point.
this is maybe aspirational that I will actually. Listen, I don't necessarily want to grow old. I just maybe need to grow up a little, like a skosh. So it's kind of cool. So this job, right? I've been coaching this insurance company since May of 2019. I came in, I did a training in July. They brought me in to start coaching the CEO and one of the commercial sales reps. In January, they kind of expanded to put me on the leadership team of the company. And in August or so, started asking about what if you came in here? What if you took this job on? Or what if you, not like the number 2 guy, but there's a COO and there's the CEO and there's me, right? So what does that look like? I'm like, dude, it looks like it's insurance. Are you kidding me? Doesn't sound like something I would do. And I'm like, I'm not licensed. I don't know anything. So I'm a past recruiter. Why don't you let me go find talent that looks like who we think should be your VP of sales? And he's like, that's a good idea. I like that idea. He said, but I think I want you. And I'm like, how is that a good idea for you? And he's like, you've got the right mindset. You've got the ability to relate to these people, and you've got a huge network, right? What I need somebody to do is make sure that the walls don't cave in when I'm out trying to find opportunities to grow the business. I need somebody to come in and help the people. Then I need somebody that can actually help us do a little bit of promotion, do a little bit of branding. And I was like, all right, you know what? That's interesting. I'm like, here's the thing. I like coaching. I like training. I like speaking. I like connecting people. And I like being out creating opportunities. And he's like, and that's what this job needs. I want Terry Bean to go out and be Terry Bean. And I'm like, huh. That might be interesting. Imagine what Terry Bean might be like if he had the same amount of money coming in every single week or every other week, right? What if Terry Bean's wife didn't have to sit and stress about how this was going to get paid, or I didn't have to make that phone call and say, hey, remember that thing I told you was coming in? It's going to be
Oh
next
yeah.
week,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because
Yep. Yeah.
that's our world.
We've all been there, yeah, for sure. The biggest difference is I have a lot of consistent clients. So
Right.
that helped me. I mean, I'm actually the consistent one in our family,
Right.
as you know. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
And it's important to have that, but it's even better to have two people be consistent, it turns out.
yes. Yep.
So it
For
was
sure. Especially if you live the lifestyle of the overhead of the home and all that of a married. So yeah, I mean, we're not really, the 2020 isn't built for one working parent anymore much. Once in a while you see it, but it's rare.
no, and especially if you're trying to have anything that's mildly entertaining. And you and I are both boaters, and that's an expensive hobby to say the least. And like you
Yep.
mentioned, having kids, and those are, I don't think they're hobbies, but
They're
they're
the most
definitely
expensive
expensive.
thing you can have.
So it started to make sense. So I was like, all right, well, let me give a whack at what I think I would do. And so I decided to refer to myself as the VP of POP. And POP is people, right? So I've got 9 sales agents that work for me, that I represent. And when I say work for me, listen, let's be clear. I support them. I'm a servant leadership guy all the way through. So how do I remove roadblocks? How do I help you grow your mindset? How do I help you get connected to people you need to be connected to? How do I open doors? How do I help you formulate a strategic plan that you can actually use to grow? Right. So that's the people side of it. In to some extent, how do I kick your ass when you need your ass kicked, right? And that's why I have the pointy cowboy boots, because if you're going to get kicked, you need to feel it. So that part's fun too. Um, the O is for opportunities, right? So go back to that strategic plan. It's really about um, sitting here and thinking through, how do we niche, right? I go back to one of our earlier conversations with Asha from like episode 79-ish or so. Your niche will make you rich, rich, rich.
Yep.
In the personal lines, the home and auto, it's a little harder to niche. You can do it geographically, right? You can target certain wealthy neighborhoods, but it's mostly just kind of fall in. But from the commercial side, when you're going after business insurance, and you got to go after a very specific niche, because
Mm.
otherwise your marketing spray and pray, and your networking time and your focus is just all over the map. So we're working through that right now.
I was going to say,
It's
so what is your niche? But you're working through it, it sounds like, for the commercial
you know,
side. Do you
we're
have a
so
specific niche?
we're narrowing it down, and it's interesting because contractors and construction is on that list, right? So speaking of your
We
husband,
have contractor
uh
insurance, yeah. I
yeah,
think we
so
have a very small, because he's not in the field anymore, but the sad thing is he is. So like he's
but he's
not, so we removed it, but now because he's a project manager, but when they don't get the work done, he jumps in and does it. So
that makes
really
sense.
probably not the best, but to not have
but
that insurance, but
it's not, he's got it through his company at this point, right? So it's not, well, he's not doing it on his own, or is he an independent
an
contractor?
independent contractor.
Oh, that's a whole different conversation that I am not qualified to have, because I am not a licensed insurance agent.
No, I know what I understand it plenty, because I've been through this. Yeah, exactly. But he does have insurance for the trailer. So if something happened with the trailer, and it got stolen, or anything happened with the trailer stuff, then that's insured. So, yep.
That makes total sense. So that's a good one to for us, especially this time, right? I don't know if it's the same in Minnesota, but here in the Detroit area, there was basically zero construction going on from 2006 or
It's
7
crazy here.
until about 15, and now it's
Just
unbelievable.
booming. Yeah. I mean, everywhere around us, there's places going up. I'm like, where are these people coming from? I don't know.
Right.
Really weird.
Somalia.
So yeah, so commercial's a good one for you. Okay. And then you're talking POP. That was your O. What's the P then?
So the other P is promotion, right?
Okay.
So the social media stuff. I'm not a graphics person, so I can't claim to be a marketer by any stretch of the imagination. I don't do ads. I don't do the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
But I do tell stories well, right? I'm okay on video. I'm okay in the written word, and I have reach. So it's leveraging those things, not just for me and my platform, but to help the agents get their own message out, right? Help them tell their story.
Got it.
And
Got it.
so
So you
it's
can train them on LinkedIn stuff and that kind of thing too. Yep.
yeah, but I can help them figure out what actually matters and what's relevant and how to get it out there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really kind of cool.
Yep.
So those are the areas that I'm playing in right now, and it's been neat. So this month of October was all about the people, right? So I look at, from Marcus Lemonis' The Prophet, he always talks about people, process, and product, right? So October was people, right? I gotta get in their heads. I gotta understand who they are, what they're about, where they want to go, what their goals are, what motivates them, what demotivates them, how much accountability do they need, how effective are they, and really kind of build this roadmap to get them from where they are today to where I need them to be. Because ultimately, I didn't come in here to maintain. I came in here to grow, right? And so the first thing that I need to grow is their mindset, and I need to understand where they are to know kind of growth needs to happen. So that's been a trip, right? And it's the end of October now, and so I feel like we're time to move into process. And there's three main pieces of software that really drive this business, and they're huge, right? They're ginormous, almost like ERP, enterprise resource planning type softwares that are all about getting all the quotes and so you gather a bunch of information from somebody about their cars and how much loss they need to cover and where they live and what their driving record's like, and then you submit it to a handful of different carriers, because we're not like a State Farm or an Allstate. We're an independent agency, so we work with a bunch of carriers and can um, help you save money, but more importantly, get you the best coverage for your individual situation. And you put all this stuff into the system, and it spits it out to all these carriers, and they all rate it, and it comes back to you, and then you call back and present to the client. So understanding that system and how it tracks the leads and the opportunities and where everything is a big one.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So
Interesting.
I'm watching videos on that right now, and ooh, what a pleasant change from all that boring Les Brown or Zig Ziglar or Bob Proctor type of stuff that I normally fill my mind with. All that really good shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I know. That sounds like it. Well, yeah, you got to know the processes. I get that. I get that. So
Gotta know the
that's kind of
process.
your difference with this company versus a regular. Like, I think we've been using one for years, same one. I honestly, I hate to say this. I think it's Farmers, but I get confused because why do they both have to have the farm word in it? Like, it drives
State
me
Farm,
crazy.
Farmers, then there's Farm Bureau,
Yeah,
right?
I just get,
Evidently.
yeah, I get confused. So anyway, and it's a good friend. We met through business networking.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's kind of how, what we're such business networkers that's, how we go with a lot of people, but bottom
And
line
that's
is, it's just all in one type thing. Sure. But the big thing I have heard is that you could probably get a better deal with your type because you can reach out to so many different carriers and then go with the best.
okay. Yeah, and we can, you could have your home insured by this company and your car's insured by that company and your boat insured over here,
Yep.
and then you could just pay one check and we spit the money out for you. So,
Oh, got it. Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting.
hey,
So where are your locations that you serve?
just Michigan.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. Okay,
just
just
Michigan. So
Michigan. Okay, well, that's good for the listeners to know.
yeah,
Yep.
for right now, it's just Michigan. So, 3 years from now, and I'll tell you, we had aggressive growth plans. right? He wants to effectively double in the next 3 years. And it's not like we're starting out as small numbers, a $14 million company, right? So we that's a lot of wood to chop in a short period of time. But it's cool. It's right. So it's a good opportunity. So, and we can do that through acquisition, or we could do that through opening new states, or we could do that through developing better commercial business. We could do that. There's 97 different ways to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that part's cool. So it's my job is to figure out where do we put that focus. I was just a couple of days ago, I went over to a streamcast studio, which evidently is like a podcast studio, but very different in that there's no difference at all. They do some video, but they put together a really good production. He was like, what do you want to do this? Do you want to start a show here? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that's of all the ways to spend money. I'm not sure that starting a podcast at the tail end of 2020 is a novel concept.
After the last podcast interview we had just had, it's interesting because he's like, John Lee Dumas is where he is because of the timing of when he started.
Right.
Podcasts are very competitive nowadays, and to launch one and think that's your revenue stream we could have a whole call talk about that, because I just went through a whole thing about marketing versus selling, and you really got to get your sales down before you start doing all this marketing stuff. And podcast is the marketing piece.
Definitely marketing, but yeah. It's to your point, like who's going to go find that, right? So do I want to be promoting my brains out to share a podcast that I just recorded? I don't do a good job of sharing the podcast we record. And I like us.
You're better off just having the commercial on this podcast, and people come in as they come in. So there you go. But it is just Michigan, so we have listeners probably in the whole world. We don't know where the listeners are coming from on the show, but you do have a lot of Michigan people, because we have brought, because we've brought in a lot of Michigan folks and that kind of thing.
A lot of Michigan guys.
We might have some Michigan listeners. So
we say we might have some Michigan listeners. Listen, lady.
So.
Listen, if we don't have Michigan listeners, we are quitting this show. And this will be the last episode.
We probably only have Michigan and Minnesota listeners.
Kind of. I'm not saying that's only, but
I have to upgrade the hosting in order to find out where all our listeners are from, and I don't feel like upgrading it. So
I don't know.
Whatever.
Let's pretend they're mostly from Russia.
Yeah,
like Russian bots are probably our biggest audience.
Oh my gosh, that's good. Well, let's finish this up. This was really good to learn, but you never know who's listening. So I think put out there what the company, can you say the name of the company? Is that fine? And
I hope so.
They reach you, and if they reach you for some reason and want to get a quote, will you just pass it to one of the salespeople? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't. You don't want me quoting anything. I will be like, nah, you don't need all that. Or you need all the things, right? I'm in between. I'm either let's do it the lowest end, or you need all of the things. Period. End of story.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we didn't finish the last P, right? So we did people, opportunities. The last P was product. And so product means that I have to get licensed. I have to go, and I agreed to go get licensed. Now I agreed to not do that until next, I call it next semester, but first quarter of 2021. But I will. It's a week. I think it's 2 or 3 days worth of class, and then you have to get a C or something on your test. So shouldn't be too terribly tough. Yeah, it shouldn't be too terribly tough. So, and I don't know anything about it, so I don't have any bad habits, right? They say when you've been in the insurance industry for a while, when you hear how things actually are, and the test is almost designed to trick you. So they're like, oh, you'll be fine. You won't overthink it because you have nothing to think about. Perfect. So, but yeah, taking the product piece and understanding that's going to be a whole nother level. So as far as people finding us, PKIG.com is going to be the website. It stands for Phil Klein Insurance Group, which is what it used to be, philkleininsurance.com. But we changed the name, got the PKIG.com because it's a cool 4-letter domain.
Hard to
And
find
every
them nowadays.
yeah, exactly. And it's I tell people all the time, the PK stands for practicing kindness, because that's really what we're about. And if you go look at my LinkedIn header, it says you have a friend in the insurance industry, because ultimately I think that's what's important. I think a lot of people might know somebody that does insurance, but insurance has this kind of rap about it that is maybe not quite used car salesman-y, but not far from
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's true.
And I don't, that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. So we need to make sure that we're not lumped into that category. One of the things that I'm doing is going out and partnering with real estate and mortgage professionals. And because I've done all this training in the past for these groups,
Yep.
I'm going to still go do the training, but now instead of them paying me, I'll just come in and do it. Right. So it's a big opportunity for them to take advantage. So I'm excited about that. It allows me to still do what I love doing,
Trainings.
which is the best part.
Mhm.
So it's kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Okay, PKIG.com.
PKIG.com. And so between you and I and anybody that's listening, if I keep looking at this PKIG, right, and I keep seeing the PKIG, and one day I was looking at it, and all of a sudden, like a little pig showed up, and I was like, what if we had a little mascot that was a pig, right? And he could be Kiggy, right? K-I-G. So I will name him Kig the pig, or Kiggy the piggy, whatever the kid.
It should be a piggy bank.
Should be a piggy bank, maybe.
Because you're saving money with insurance.
Could be. So
pig, cartoony thing, pig,
and that's it. So what I was thinking, because I was going to be like, he could be like the anti-mascot, right? So he could represent all the big insurance companies, right? And so we could be like, avoid the big, kind of like avoid the Noid from the 80s, which is funny. The Domino's guy, do you remember that? The old Domino's commercials, avoid the Noid, red hair, red little rabbit looking
80s were a
weird
little
thing.
blur, so come on. That's a long time ago.
That's true. I do remember some of it. But yeah, so we'll see, man. I'm trying to, I gotta do something that's going to stand out and make us kind of a household name. So, and I think Kiggy the Piggy might be the answer. Kiggy's
I know, and I was
little
thinking
badass.
when you said that too, because that, makes it rememberable. Yep.
That's what needs to happen, right? So that's cool. So yeah,
Got a lot.
PKIG.com. Find me, hang out. Let's go do cool stuff. That's
Cool. And if you guys have not listened to our past podcast episodes, they're all on businessgrowthtime.com/podcasts or /blog, either one. And then we also have our group, which is businessgrowthtime.xyz, takes you right to the Facebook group. And we haven't been doing a great job in that lately, so I hate to say it, but the Facebook group. But you know what? There's so many groups out there, I feel, for them. We also have a business page. And actually, one of the best places to find our past podcasts is our Instagram. We have every single episode there, and it's so easy to, because of the visual there, to see, what might interest you. So check out our Instagram, follow us there. And that's it. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Terry.